Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
A very good morning and welcome to another edition of Newsline, coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Of course, your usual host, Faraz Shaukat Ali, is out for the day. I'm Charlene Benedict and I will be sitting in. Getting to know our guest this morning, we have two guests on our show this morning actually. On my immediate left is Mr. Kuwera D'Souza, President's Counsel. He is the chairman of the Junior Bar Committee of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. A very good morning, sir, and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Also joining us this morning is Attorney at Law Nishan Pramithiratna. He is the convener of the Junior Bar Committee of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. Very good morning, sir, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Shani.
So I'd like to direct my first question to Mr. President's Counsel D'Souza. So what exactly is the Junior Bar Committee of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, and what are you tasked with this time around?
Junior Bar Committee is a committee set up by the Bar Association of Sri Lanka among its many committees. The prime objective of the Junior Bar Committee is to sort of foster or help the juniors to enhance, especially to enhance their knowledge, and to it's a forum for the juniors to make use of with regard to how they should be, as juniors, how to get into the next level. So, and also to air their issues. So the Junior Bar Forum, or especially the Junior National Law Conference, had been made use of as a platform, especially the last year, the previous year, 2018 Junior National Law Conference, had been a forum to air their issues, the issues faced by the juniors, the thoughts of the juniors.
So it would be right to assume that the Junior National Law Conference is one of the flagship events of the Junior Bar Committee?
You're right, Charlene. That's a flagship event of the Junior Bar Committee.
And speaking of the previous years where this was held, how has the response been, and what's the speciality this year?
Response has been very good. As you know, the majority of the legal profession or the legal fraternity are juniors. So the Junior National Law Conference could accommodate only about 350 maximum because of logistics, the issues. This year's the conference, the difference is that we have the juniors have taken a bold step towards if you look at the theme of this year's Junior National Law Conference, the legal profession towards a towards a digital era is a bold step towards transforming the legal profession, being with the rest of the profession, moving with the world. Because I think we have to concede the fact that the legal profession in this country, compared to many other jurisdictions, to other professions, technologically, we are not made use of the technological advancement to the betterment of the profession. So in that context, the juniors have made this this year's conference, as a bold step towards digitalization of the legal profession.
Mr. Pramithiratna, speaking about the theme and the speciality of this year's Junior National Law Conference, what are the practical differences, speaking with the previous years comparatively?
Yes, Charlene. So this year's conference, as Mr. D'Souza pointed out, we are trying to enhance or to show the importance of technology to a modern day lawyer. So from the commencement of the conference, the actual ticket issue was also made online. So the entire conference sessions and the deliberations of all the panelists are going to be made available online through the Junior Bar website, which is linked with the Bar Association website. So the Bar Association website is actually a website which each and every one of us can access. So even the general public can access the Bar Association website, which is freely available, and the Junior Bar website, which was recently created, which is linked up with the Bar Association website, gives access to the Junior Law Conference. So from the inauguration today, which is to commence at 6:30 at Blue Waters, Wadua, which would be with His Lordship the Chief Justice in attendance. From that event onwards until the conclusion of the conference, which is going to be on Sunday, the sessions, we are hoping that technology will hold with us, and there would not be any failures, but the sessions are intended to be broadcasted live through a live stream linked with the Bar Association website. So as Mr. De Souza pointed out, the junior lawyers comprise of about 8,000 in number. So, but
out of a total of about 18?
Yes. So the 18,000 members, we want to open the whole conference out not merely to even the 8,000 junior lawyers, but to all 18,000. So though we logistically have an issue of accommodating more than 300 people in person, the fact that it's going to be available online would entail every one of us to be able to log in to the website and be a part of the Junior Law Conference.
And of course, all of these steps that you've taken is to fall in line with the theme of this year, Into a Digital Era.
Yes. Why this is important, Charlene, is if you look at Sri Lanka is ranked at number 164 in the World Bank Doing Business Index. Now, the World Bank Doing Business Index actually is a indicator to an investor to come and invest in our country. So the ranking of Sri Lanka in the overall indices is 99. However, in respect of enforcement of a contract, we take over 1,300 days. So we are 164th in the doing business ranking. So what does that mean? It means that in the event there is a dispute in respect of any form of investment, the World Bank has come to a finding that it takes about 4 years
on average
to resolve a dispute. So that is something which we all, the legal fraternity, has to be concerned of. And in the eyes of the general public, that is also a concern. When the general public, when members of the public would consult Mr. De Souza or myself or any of the members of the legal fraternity, the question would be how long would it take and how long would it cost. So we cannot give a definite answer to that issue when we do not know how long the system will take the process. So,
and currently on average it takes about 4 years, so it's
4
safe to say
years,
it will be 4 years or more.
Yeah, so that is in respect of commercial matters, in respect
matters.
of contractual matters. So without cursing the darkness, we can also do a little thing by lighting a single candle. So are the juniors going to be the future of the bar or the future of the legal fraternity? So a little change in our own productivity by trying to change ourselves to make ourselves more efficient might actually make the change in the eyes of the general public that the profession can evolve into a more efficient setup. So we want the required technological know-how to be instilled, at least starting from the junior lawyers.
President's Counsel De Souza, can the legal fraternity in Sri Lanka actually evolve? Has it happened abroad, and how far behind are we?
As Nishan pointed out, I think knowledge-wise, the legal fraternity in Sri Lanka, because we generally go in line with the British system. So we are in par with the rest of the world, knowledge-wise. But as Mr. Premtiratna pointed out, technologically, we are not made advances. We are lagging behind. So I think if technology can be made use of, especially, I mean, we have a history of where we start. Now we had a project called the LJRP project, funded by the World Bank, Legal and Judicial Reforms Project, a decade ago, where we started. It's video conferencing, evidence given by Skype, then legal transcription. We start, and somewhere down the line we stop. So these projects, I mean, that project was initiated by the World Bank, as Nishan pointed out, when it comes to enforcement of commercial contracts, taking a minimum of 4 years to enforce a contract, litigation. So in that aspect, we are behind. We need to be in par with the world. I mean, we are talking about development, having a port city here,
a digital economy, era.
And having a separate legal regime for the port city, the financial hub. So we need to move along. I mean, the world is flat, as you know. We need to move along with the rest of the world. So in that aspect, I think this is a good stepping stone. I mean, we have taken a very good, the junior especially, they are the future. So they have taken a very bold step. When you say juniors, they are 10 years and below in the profession. So they have taken a very bold step. I think this is a good eye-opener for all of us, including the seniors in the legal profession, to make use of technology, I mean, to that is the way forward, in my opinion.
So I understand that although the Junior National Conference is a flagship event, that is not the only event that is organized by the Junior Bar Committee. Anything else that you've organized in line with this theme?
Now we are hoping to, Charlene, in the beginning of the following year, we want to have a junior lawyer symposium, and we want to have a dialogue directly with the executive of the country, that is His Excellency the President, and hopefully the Prime Minister, and we want to place the issues of the legal fraternity and also juniors before him, so that we can actually hope in the that these issues can be addressed expeditiously, and what issues which surround juniors sometimes are not what actually surround the entire legal fraternity. So there are particular issues with juniors, mainly targeting the juniors. So we want to present all of this through a junior bar symposium. But to your question, what are the other events? We have a event called the Junior Bar Forum. So the Junior Bar Forum is a platform where we are able to canvass the issues of juniors on an island-wide basis and place it before the all the authorities or the key stakeholders, so that they can actually address some of these concerns the juniors face. Now, as a law student, Charlene, even you would feel that the numbers coming into the profession is a concern. So yes, it might be a concern to a lot of newcomers who do not hail from a legal background. So getting into the profession, finding work, finding a chamber, getting into a law firm, those are not matters which come automatically. At law college you might be taught only a limited aspect of actually academic aspect of the law, but how to survive in the profession is a completely different thing. Even managing a client is something which
it's a separate art.
Yes, it's a separate art. So no, a disgruntled single client can ruin your entire profession.
That's some very good advice from the convener of the Junior Bar Committee of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. Nishant, staying on the same subject, we know that it's not only the legal profession that's transitioning into a digital era. The entire country, the entire world, in fact, is transitioning into a digital era. Speaking a little bit about the content that will be discussed at this forum, you spoke about this forum being a catalyst to stir the legal profession to move forward into the digital era. But besides that, the issues that the general public in general face, such as fake news, computer crimes, these are some of the real-time issues that the general public face, but really have no understanding of how the law operates in these fields. Would such matters also be discussed at the forum?
Well, we are having a session on cybercrimes. Okay. So that is a session which would be paneled by the president of the bar and a ladyship from the appellate court. So that is specifically to address the concerns of in respect of computer crimes and cybercrimes. So most of our young lawyers, sometimes most of the seniors, are also not properly aware of the actual implications of the provisions found in the statute. So we want to enhance. We've got these two experts to talk on these matters to the junior lawyers. So in respect of the general public, whether in respect to the issue of fake news, for example, whether the laws of our country adequately are able to cater fabricated news postings on social media. Now that sort of issue is going to be deliberated actually on the Sunday morning at the Junior Law Conference, where we are getting a representative from ICTA and also the regional head of Facebook to come down to the conference. Okay. So the juniors can actually pose these questions to Facebook itself on how to bring content down, because if fabricated postings are effected by a fake individual, it's not easy to locate the individual, because if you go to a court of law, you need to name the person. if you want to get an injunctive relief, you need to specifically name a person. Otherwise, you need to go to CERT and make a complaint, and then CERT might have to also go on a voyage of discovery to find who the perpetrator is. So sometimes these IP addresses are created from overseas. So it's not easy to track down the actual perpetrator.
So it's a whole different ballgame.
Yes, so you make a complaint to Facebook. Sometimes Facebook might not find that comment or the posting offensive. They would give you a remark saying, we have ensured that this comment won't be visible by you. So, but that doesn't do the job for you.
That doesn't mean it's taken down.
Yes, that doesn't mean it is taken down. So those matters.
And that's another issue that we're facing currently: hate speech.
Yes,
and,
yes.
racial slurs.
So then the government has to resort sometimes to extreme tactics of trying to curtail entire Facebook or social media postings for a certain period of time.
And we witnessed those incidents in the country itself.
That is the thing. So probably Facebook can actually give us a solution on how to address these postings of this nature in order to ensure that they are not continued to be posted when it has been complained of.
Speaking still on the subject of the content at the Junior National Bar Conference, President's Counsel D'Souza, what are the other aspects that will be discussed at the conference?
It is like the sessions are like there are sessions on the civil law, the commercial law, and the criminal law, and also, as Anishan pointed out, on the international in the IT laws. So basically, and also we have tried to make this, I mean, as you know, when we start on today, and we go on till Sunday, I mean, we don't want to make it a 100% academic affair, because the participants will get bored. I mean, this is a younger crowd. So obviously, coming back to the earlier subject, now you were on the cyber laws. I mean, as you know, Sri Lanka has very limited laws to deal with this. Now, this is in the modern day. It's called cyberbullying. Now, in Australia, with the Christchurch attack, they revisited their laws and they changed the laws. If you do
New Zealand.
Australia, in fact, has taken into consideration the
incidents in New Zealand.
Has made certain amendments. Now, you know, in Sri Lanka we have the ICCPR, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. So, and also the Penal Code of Sri Lanka, I think Section 291 deals only with religious and racial disharmony. But with regard to hate speech and, you know, making use of technology to sort of deliberately
so what's being done is that the offence is being interpreted under various acts. There are no specific
but there are no
offences
specific laws. I think it's time for the state, all stakeholders, to revisit the laws and introduce the required laws, bring in amendments, necessary amendments, or if necessary to create new laws to deal with this subject, because we have experienced in the past that technology is being used by many people. If you want to attack somebody or to deliberately insult somebody, and social media, especially the social media, is being used by people. So in that context, I think this is a good forum, maybe at the IT sessions at the JNLC this year.
And then the fact of the matter is that certain people have made a business out of it.
Correct.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. So that's, I think that can be discussed, topic for discussion.
Mr. Premitharatna, do you believe that just amending the laws and creating new laws in the country that will specifically address these issues would solve the matter?
Now, in order to address that, Charlene, for example, alternate dispute resolution, ADR, is one of the most sought after modalities of dispute resolution world over. Now, unfortunately,
because of its efficiency.
Yes, because of its efficiency and because of the fact that it is not deemed to be a in-court settlement. So there is a degree of flexibility attached to ADR. However, in Sri Lanka, we have so many contracts which encompass an arbitration clause. However, unfortunately, when you go to arbitration in Sri Lanka, now the laws are sufficient to have expeditious arbitration. Unfortunately, our arbitration culture is such that whatever the laws we have, the practitioners along with the arbitrators convert the arbitration into a judicial proceeding. So generally, if you have an arbitration clause in the arbitration agreement, the arbitration process will take you about 2 to 3 years if it is a Sri Lankan arbitration. Thereafter, when you get an award in your favor, that award might not be voluntarily complied by the losing party. So you need to then
challenge it.
Yes, you need to bring the award to the High Court,
right,
and deposit it in the High Court. So that will take a further 2 years. So you're looking at about 4 to 5 years for this whole alternate dispute resolution process.
So either way, there is no way that you're going to get a settlement south of 4 years.
Yes. So ultimately, the question or the introspection needs to be done on the legal profession itself. How are we going to evolve or adapt the commercial culture? We need to have that. Without having that, we can bring in all the laws required to ensure expeditious dispute resolution. Now, we've brought in a Civil Procedure Code amendment during in 2017. Now, that amendment has so many provisions which could expedite a trial.
Okay.
But unfortunately, that amendment is not actually doing justice to the amendment, because that is just used for 1 or 2 purposes, and thereafter you just follow the same old process of a trial.
So there's a problem in the incorporation of that.
Or problem in the attitude of us lawyers.
Attitude is the main problem, Charlie. Right?
Yes, because as Mr. D'Souza was instrumental in working on the amendment has several sections where you can actually compel parties to even settle. The parties can use the amendment to decide on the evidence which is going to be led, because as lawyers we would tend to object to every document, to every piece of video recording or email which is going to be adduced. But at the pre-trial stage, you can use this and get the parties to say, you're not going to object to this, you're not going to say anything about this document. So you can agree to all of that, then you actually go into the trial to deliberate only on the actual crux of the issue. So, however, we brought that in, but seemingly a recent judge of the appellate court, had in his he had commented on this. He was also instrumental in working on the amendment, but unfortunately, our culture, our attitude, that is what the Junior Bar Committee is hoping, that we can, to the new generation, be able to instill the cultural or the attitudinal changes which is required to take on the modern day challenges.
Mr. D'Souza, how does the transition into a digital era or the incorporation of the digital aspect into the legal sphere help expedite the proceedings or address these issues that we were just speaking about?
I think, as Charlene and Mr. Premathiratna pointed out, first, the fundamental thing is we need to have an attitude change. We can have all these laws, as I told you.
All these laws, all the
technology, systems in place. I mean, we introduced during the LJRP project, Legal and Judicial Reforms Project, technology, a decade ago, or yes, about 15 years ago. But we introduce, then we stop. There's something.
Because nobody's using it.
Maybe we are quite comfortable with, we go back to the old system. We are comfortable. We are in a comfort zone.
We're not comfortable with change.
Unfortunately, or for some reason, I think the legal profession seems to be thinking, excluding the younger generation. Maybe the older generation seems to be thinking that they are quite comfortable in whatever
the current system.
So we can have all these laws. We can bring in amendments, as Mr. Premathiratna pointed out. We brought this amendment to the Civil Procedure Code. We introduced a novel thing called the pre-trial. I mean, this is being adapted and used in many jurisdictions to resolve disputes. Pre-trial, so we can agree on. So the case proceeds to its trial proper. I mean, we don't waste time. So, but unfortunately, our members seems to be thinking, I mean, this by trying to introduce something. I mean, this is going to affect their income. So I think that's not right. So we need to have an attitude change. So in that context, the fundamental thing is we need to have attitude change, and we need to be amenable to change. So that is very, very important.
But speaking a bit about the importance of incorporating the whole digital aspect into the legal sphere in the context of saving time and money, how does this really work?
I mean, for an example, I mean, legal transcription. There's a thing called legal transcription. In fact, we started this, but we stopped. Legal transcription is something where we have, if you have, take for an example, a court proceedings, a day's proceedings, your proceedings are reduced to writing. Now what we do is generally a stenographer comes in, manually she takes down the notes. Then thereafter it's typed. It takes time. Sometimes cases are postponed due to lack of proceedings. So we take another day to correct the proceedings. I mean, you know, in other jurisdictions, the legal transcription is there, where at the end of the day, these proceedings are all given to you. I mean, both in the presence of both parties.
Within a matter of minutes.
Matter of minutes. Corrections are done on the same day. So you don't waste time again on another day.
Time and money.
Time and money. Time and money. You're absolutely right, Shah. So that's one example. In the video conferencing of giving evidence. If you want to get a witness who lives overseas to give evidence via Skype, video conferencing. Otherwise, you have to bring the witness down to Sri Lanka.
Currently, according to the current system, we have to bring the witness down into Sri Lanka.
Yes, because we don't have, though it was introduced, I mean, it's collecting dust in some courthouses. We started these things as a pilot project, but unfortunately, it's collecting dust. So that is where we are as of date.
And this is not just an issue that will affect the legal fraternity of the country. It's an issue that people every day face. The booming costs of litigation can be attributed to all of these issues.
And adding to that, Charlene, I think every litigant wouldn't mind the cost as long as there is certainty given to him or her or the entity as to the duration.
And there is efficiency.
Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
Justice delayed is justice denied.
Exactly. That was where I was coming to. So that is what we all need to, you know, wonder and ponder about. How are we going to create this dynamic culture required to uplift the public confidence, which is paramount. And we are professionals, we are not doing a business. We have taken an oath given to the Supreme Court that we are here to do justice by our client. So to do justice by our client, we need to introspect ourselves. So that is why the conference is trying to aim a digitalization in respect of juniors, and simply for adding on to the fact of how technology can work. For example, now I use, me and my juniors, we use a diary online. So simply when a case is updated by a junior in another court, it is updated in all of our diaries. So, so simply that's
simultaneously.
Yes, simultaneously. So you don't, the junior need not come and ask for my hard copy of the diary and put the case number and the date and the next step. So those little things which take sometimes, you know, a continuous routine might also take time. So efficiency starts from there. Now you don't get a culture where lawyers carry a lot of books to court. Everything is online. Mr. D'Souza, I see him
and it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't need to be that way. So you can, you know, immediately do a reference online and show it to a court of law. And so sometimes I think it is the attitude of being able to entertain an authority in that manner. Because we are used to hard copies, we are used to NLRs, we need the big books to be referred to. So simple changes like that can actually enhance our efficiency.
President's Counsel D'Souza, we're in the final few minutes of our show. Now, as we told at the start of the program, all of these matters will be discussed at the Junior National Law Conference, which begins on the 29th. Just a final few bit of details about the law conference. How long will it be held? Where will it be held? How can people attend? How can people access the lectures that are given at the conference? Just in the final few minutes of our show, if you could.
The conference is due to commence today at Blue Water, Wadua, where His Lordship the Chief Justice will grace the occasion as the chief guest. And the academic sessions will continue tomorrow, from tomorrow to Sunday afternoon. So it's there till Sunday after lunch. The conference would be concluded. So that's the program.
And also, Mr. Premithiratna, I believe the program can be accessed online. If you can give us the details of how people can access this.
So the Bar Association website, I think a simple Google search of Bar Association Sri Lanka will take you to the Bar Association website. So we are hoping, fingers crossed, that everything will work and the material will be available concurrently, contemporaneously to the sessions continuing. But even if it doesn't happen contemporaneously, we are going to ensure that recordings of the sessions would be available.
Okay.
And also the session material. So
And this year's the course material is all on a pen drive.
on a pen drive. So we are giving it in a pen drive to the delegates, but to the general public and to all the other members of the legal fraternity, it will be available on the
website as
on the
well.
Bar
So the Junior
Association
Bar
website.
Committee is practicing what they preach.
Hopefully.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, President's Counsel De Zoysa and Attorney at Law Premita Ratna for joining us on our show this morning. And that's how it was on Newsline today. Until we meet next time, take care and God bless.
Thank you, Shalin.
Thanks, Shalin.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.